Hi, welcome to another episode of Fearless and Free TV. Today I have a message from Yeshuah. Actually, there are two messages. I'm just kind of combining them together because they came in a couple of days apart. And before I get into that message, I want to share something with you which is really interesting, from the last episode I did from Metatron, where he was asking me to write a book that I've had up here for about the last 6 months, and after doing that last episode, I got busy writing, so I've probably written about 10 pages already. But what was interesting in the meantime is that I had a solution come into my path that I'm going to share with you because I'm very excited about this. So what I was seeing about 6 months ago was that we were going to be building a new reality on top of the existing reality. And I thought it was really interesting because I was seeing, a store that was part of what I call the global freedom movement. So we have our own stores, we have our own restaurants, we have our own businesses. I even saw having our own airline, if that's, who knows if that's going to happen, but that's what I was seeing. So I kept seeing, we have our own schools and our own medical clinics. So I saw this happening, these two realities coexisting on the same space, but I didn't know how that was going to happen. How is it possible that we have our own stores right there amongst the other stores? So literally what I was seeing is how one reality is going to be built on top of the existing reality. Kind of like when you look at cities, and sometimes underneath a city, there's the ruins of a previous city, and so the new city just got built right on top of the old one. I think there's even New York, you have New York, but then underneath New York is old New York. And there's a lot of places like that where the new city was just built on top of the old one. So that's kind of the visual that I was getting, last winter, was somehow we would build a new reality, the new earth, on top of the existing earth. So energetically, they're two completely different realities, but they coexist on the same physical plane. So I didn't quite know what that would look like until a couple of days ago. And my very, very good friend, Deborah Ariel Peach, and her husband, Scott Bartle, were on Nicholas Van Yaman's show. And they were talking about these PMAs. And I immediately recognized it. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the answer right there. That's the answer. They're private membership associations. And so what they do is they allow a business to be in the physical space, but not play by the same rules as the rest of the businesses. So what I'm going to do, because it's not harder for me to explain it than for Deborah and Scott to explain it to you, in the comments below, I'll leave my link for you to go check out their website. Now, this is my affiliate link, and the reason I shared with you that way is that affiliate cross-promoting each other's businesses is how a lot of us have been doing business for about the last 10 years. And so if you use my affiliate link and you decide to participate in their program, then I earn a percentage of the sale. Total, absolute transparency that affiliate marketing is just how a lot of us do business. And if you don't use my link, then I miss out on the percentage. So there's that. And I have done that before where I've missed out because people have not used my link. Anyway, so these, they're basically private associations. So the best example I have for that is when I was in college, I lived in Salt Lake City. And all of the bars and some of the restaurants in Salt Lake City were private clubs. And the reason they were private clubs is that they could sell liquor. Salt Lake City, Utah had some really interesting liquor laws where businesses weren't allowed to sell liquor unless they were private clubs. So I'd have to show up at the club, give $5 at the door, get a one-time membership of the club, but I wasn't ever an official member. So this idea of private membership associations is a new way for businesses to be able to run their business without having to comply with some of this government overreach that we're running into right now. So I'll leave that link in the comments below for you to go and check it out and decide if it's something that you want to participate in, because there's a couple of different ways that you can participate in that. You can either be a business owner or you can be an affiliate, and you can help other business owners who you think might want to participate. So there's lots of options there for you. Okay, so now I'm going to get into this message, or these two messages from Yeshuah. I'm just going to read them back to back, and then I don't know if I'll have any comments afterwards. So here goes. Okay, so this message came in on August 30th, and today is September 12th, so it'll be almost 2 weeks ago. Good morning, dear one, dearest one. I am Yeshuah, guardian of the light and master teacher for planet Earth. Yes, planet. All of it from beginning to end has a divine plan, as all planets do. This planet, as you know, is one of the most beautiful and abundant creations. This is one of the most desirable locations in the universe. That is why so many have descended to Earth to experience her beauty, her magnificence, her adventure of the heart. This is also why some have attempted to control her and who was allowed to experience her. Know, dear one, that time of control is nearing an end. The souls of humanity have finished with this level of the game, the great human experience. This was created for souls who wanted an intensive learning environment. The darkness was allowed to come to Earth to create the contrast the souls wanted to learn through. While specifics were not planned, the code for all possible options were written in advance. The idea of God's plan is not far off, yet many don't understand the vastness of the plan, and no one is forced into specific moves. Yes, there are some who have attempted to manipulate the game code, but all options already exist in the code. The options are infinite. And yes, there are primary players. The decision makers are some of the oldest and most advanced souls. On a soul level, they agreed to play the contrast role in order to bring an end to this level of the game. I use this terminology because it is what most people can currently relate to. Nothing that happens isn't already known. It isn't God's will, it is God's allowance. We are all God learning collectively. We are all God experiencing itself as us. Always learning, always growing, always expanding. The infiniteness is beyond present human comprehension. Know it is how it is. Everyone returns to the loving because no one ever really left. Only a small portion of a soul's consciousness is playing in the Earth avatar. The rest is with Source. You are all Source code. You ask, dear one, what is really happening on the Earth plane and what my true role is. I am the master teacher, the primary teacher for all life on Earth. I did not say that only through me can they get to God. That was a misquotation. But for those who believe this to be true, it is true for them. I do not judge or discount them. They need a light to guide their way, and I will be that for them. Will I return in a cloud of smoke and rescue them? No, that is also part of the misbelief. The second coming of Christ is the remembrance that they are all Christed. They are all Christ consciousness through them. Divine love, unconditional love. I came to set them free, and I come again to set them free, not through their religions, but through their own knowing. They must find the light and the way within themselves and be that for the rest. Now you ask what is happening on the Earth plane right now. Yes, this is the moment humanity has been waiting for, the return of peace and love to the planet. Yes, all who are not that will be transitioning off the planet. It will be as quick and painless as possible, much like ripping off a bandage. It will be very painful, but not for long. Some suffering is necessary to bring humanity together into one purpose, the freedom of all life on Earth. It's all playing out now. Know that it is already done according to plan. All hands on deck. You ask if you should stock up on supplies. Yes, this is always a good idea. Yet do not fear. You ask about the 10 days of darkness. They are not physical days of darkness, although there will be some power outages as you shift systems. The 10 days are metaphorical, 10 days of dark news that forever changes the landscape of Earth. These are the collective dark nights of the soul, if you will. 10 days that shake the very ground humanity walks on. I cannot say when these will be, as no one knows the date and time. Know the darkness is coming, the darkest part of the storm, as earth is cleansed of the iniquities, those who can no longer stand in her presence. I am Lord of Lords, King of Kings. My wisdom, the wisdom given me by divine Creator, will become part of the new earth wisdom, not to be worshipped and extolled, but to be understood. You are all me, and I am all you. As you will know, you are the ones you've been waiting for. The darkness is near completion. Light will prevail on earth. This is the final time of darkness, when all earth will awaken anew. How many will stay and how many will go is determined by each of you. The more of you who find your heart light, the more will stay. It is really that simple. Be in peace and know that I am is also you. So be it. Now, this next message came in on September 6th, and I'm just combining the two here together. I am Yeshuah, master teacher and guardian of earth and all her inhabitants. You ask, dear one, about freedom of choice, what others call free will choice. How to recognize it, how the law is being manipulated, abrogated, and where the line is drawn between freedom of choice and abrogation. Where does one person's choice supersede another person's choice? Yes, this can be very complicated. Some are using the law of choice to confine and control others, and using this law to cause harm to others. In essence, in short, when the law of choice is used to inhibit the choice of others, it is a manipulation of the law. They are correct in saying they have freedom of choice, yet there are other secondary laws they are breaking. Any time a choice willingly causes harm and takes away the choice of another, it is breaking the law. The consequence for breaking this law is loss of joy. They are, in essence, breaking their own freedom to experience the joy that is every person's divine birthright. Every choice made by every human being affects the choices of every other human being. There is no way around it. It is impossible for anyone to be just me. The real question, or rather, the answer is the thought and meaning behind the choice. If a choice is made with malicious or harmful intent, it, in essence, takes away the free choice of others. Those who are forced to choose under this covert intent are choosing, but it is not free choice. It is coercion, and therefore the propagators of the malicious choice will be held accountable for breaking the law. Accountability sometimes occurs on earth and always after death, for every soul needs to rectify its human experience. Choices made out of desperation and love of self, self-love, such as abortions, are held to a different standard. Those who profit from the abortions and the suffering of women will be held accountable for their manipulation of choice through coercing mothers to give up their children. In an environment based solely in love, there would be no unwanted pregnancies, as all life is sacred. There will be no rape, abuse, or incest leading to unwanted pregnancy. Women will honor their bodies and carefully guard them, sharing only in joy and love. Men will honor women's bodies as sacred vessels. As for now, this is an issue women, the givers and nurturers of life, are wrangling with, unaware of how their bodies are being used and manipulated by those with ill intent. Abortion on its own is not taking away the choice of another. Remember, too, that sometimes the soul is not ready yet, and the body of the womb is not the right body, as you experienced for yourself. Again, it comes back to intent. If the choice is made through selfishness and complete disregard for life, the consequences are different than a choice made in love and desperation. No two circumstances are the same, and attempts to block them into one box also takes away freedom of choice. An adult that is having sexual relations with a child is a violation of the child's choice and held to the most grievous response. The adult becomes a tortured soul until it makes amends. With regard to the vaccine, Not taking it has no effect on those who do. It in no way affects others' freedom of choice. Some are being told this, again, by those who are attempting to abrogate the choices of humanity. They are of ill and malicious intent. Attempting to control freedom of choice will be their downfall. It always has been. The only thing truly sustainable in the human experience is freedom. It must be protected at all costs. Freedom to choose always takes precedence, but not freedom to choose harm. The freedom to choose harm is not acceptable and has not gone unnoticed, and the perpetrators are being rounded up. They will be separated from the rest of humanity, where they will no longer do harm. Those who did their bidding through coercion will be rehabilitated and will sell out the rest on behalf of humanity. That is all for now, my love. Be in peace. So that's the message, well, two messages that came in from Yeshuah. I had some questions, about what's happening on the planet and how we can see it from the best perspective, and then also how freedom of choice works, because freedom of choice is so, freedom of choice isn't always clear. And so I needed that clarity to be able to recognize the difference between how one person's freedom of choice affects another person's freedom of choice, because it is a very sticky place to navigate. And this idea that freedom of choice that is initiated through ill intent and intent to cause harm is breaking the law of freedom of choice, and that the coercion of that is what's happening with a lot of what's happening on the planet right now, and that it's taking away the freedom of choice of others through this intent to cause ill will. So I really needed that clarification, and I hope that has really helped you as well, because that's kind of being pulled, the two sides of every discussion right now that's happening, where both sides of the story are saying it's my choice, and where does one person's choice end and another person's choice begin. And so this has been a really interesting conversation to be having, and a very helpful insight that I received from Yeshuah about how to look at freedom of choice and how one person's choice is affecting another. So that helped me, and I hope that helps you as well. And as always, remember to hold your light so high others can't help but find their own light. We are the light keepers and the way showers and the light workers and the light leaders, and together we will create an earth based in freedom, joy, peace, and prosperity for all. And until next time, remember to get bold, be fearless, and live free. Mwah.